Have you been playing any games lately, Andy? Anything?
No.
Anything? Nothing?
Dude, I haven't played a single game in at least a week and a half.
What have you been? Just Destiny still?
Well, for Destiny, the final shape just came out, which is the final release. Now, like, they still have hot fixes, things like that, content, but that's like the last chapter. And I don't know if I should spoil it or not. Like, so Destiny is premised around like the Traveler, which is this godlike being that basically terraforms planets and things. And the Traveler comes to Earth, and there is the Witness, who is like representative of the darkness. And the Witness is trying to get into the Traveler to basically create the final shape, which is this speculative state of matter where everything is just kind of pivotally frozen in time. And at the end of the last chapter, which I don't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but it was really good, you saw the Traveler actually winds up getting opened. And this chapter is actually going into the Traveler and fighting the Witness to prevent him from doing that.
Yeah.
And it kind of aligns well with what everybody expected, because, like, so there was a character called Cade Six who got killed off earlier on.
I remember that from the first one.
Right. So so Cade died at one point, and I was told by Andrew today, he was playing it, evidently Cade comes back now. Like, he's back, but inside the Traveler. So it's like, if the Traveler is this concept of God, is inside the Traveler the concept of heaven. So it's really deep, and I'm excited to play it. I just haven't had time with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I've just been I've been grinding old school RuneScape. I've just been like doing what they call like routine runs. You're training like certain skills, so I'm working on hunter and farming. They were like my lowest skills because you can train them passively.
I'm shocked.
So you can do what they call birdhouse runs. So it's just 4 birdhouses. You literally just go. It takes like 2 minutes to just empty the contents, fill it back up, and then you go off and do your herb runs, go to your herb patches, harvest, replant, and then do your tree runs, which is checking the health of your trees, paying somebody to cut them down, replanting, and then once that's done, I usually just shut it off. And then I started playing World of Outlaws again. Just that was the game that I was playing, so I want to get the trophies for it. So I've just been playing that. Like, if I edit and I'm waiting for it to bounce out, I'll sit and I'll run a couple of races or whatever. I do 50% length, and I'm just grinding like races in my 410 because you get a shitload of money. You get like 100-some K if you get like top 10. So I haven't like upgraded my 410, and my 305, which I started, I crush there. My car is like almost all upgraded.
What's the AI set on?
I think it's normal. I think I just have it on normal. I didn't mess with that at all. 410s are tough. Like, the 410s are legitimately tough. Even on normal, like, you're going much faster. From a 305 to a 410.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The speed, the traction, the cornering is all just miles.
It's very different.
So, like, I started to get, like, the hang of, like, how the 410's handling and when to take the corner and just how to, like, take the corner at the fastest speed that I can. Because if you take it slow, they're passing you. Like, they're hard to catch. So I've been, like, placing, like, top 15 at least in the 410s, and I barely upgraded my car because it's so expensive. So I'm just working on upgrading my 305 completely to get that trophy, and then I'll start working on like the 410. But
Yeah, it's tricky. You can't pitch it too far. You can't run too high. Can't run
Yeah.
too low. Kind of have to, like, almost not pitch it at all, but give it enough to where the
'Cause, like,
stagger's offset.
when you take the corner, you don't even need to like hold in like the turn. You just hold in the gas and you'll automatically stay. And if you just push to the right to counter steer so you're not too crooked, you'll take the corner like as fast as you can, and then you hit the straightaways and stuff. But some of the tracks are really small and they're really difficult when you've got all of those cars in there, and I have yellows on, so like we'll run like 5 laps or so, and it's like another yellow.
That's why I stopped playing that game. I got so fed up with it because, like, we would go green, and then within probably 2 seconds, I'd have somebody taking me out, and I was just like, "This, no."
Yeah, when you're running the 410s on that, it's tough. But that's what I've been playing.
It's just like iRacing. I mean, iRacing, you get into a race, inevitably, as soon as everybody punches it, somebody's just right up your rear. And
I did get a big collection piece the other day. I think we were at the golf outing. We were at the dinner table, and I saw on Facebook that
we're going to talk about that. Okay.
At Game Traders Club,
Mm-hmm.
they had a game that I've been looking for, CIB, and I commented on it, and I said, dibs. And then the next day, they responded and were like, did you call the store? And I didn't respond until later on, and I was like, no, I didn't. I was running errands all day. So I called them Tuesday, and I said, hey, do you still have it? And they were like, yeah. I was like, hold it for me. I'll be right there. So...
Oh, boy.
Shining Force.
Bro.
Shining Force, CIB, is the recent pickup. And I've seen it loose countless times. Countless times I've seen it loose. And I was holding out for the CIB copy. And every time I go into a game store, I look at their Genesis games, and I'm looking for Shining Force. Always see it loose. Haven't seen it CIB. Finally saw it CIB, so I snapped it up.
With manual.
With the manual. Now, as I was looking at this game, examining the manual, looking at the manual, it made me think about playing retro video games. So, if you're looking at a retro video game, when it came out, a Sega Genesis game, we'll use Shining Force as the example. It came, you get the clamshell, you get the manual, and you get the cartridge. Now, with a game like this, with Shining Force, it's an RPG, it's a role-playing game. It's in depth. There's things that you need to know, etc. Ways, it's all about the exploration. So, I started reading the manual, and I started just like looking and paging through. So, in Shining Force, if you've ever played Shining Force, it doesn't really tell you things that you need to know, like items. Like it'll just tell you it's a healing seed. And you're just like, okay, it heals you, but does it heal like any like special ailments that you have, like paralysis or sleep or darkness or whatever it may be? So I kept paging through it, and it gives you like all the info on the characters, and it gives you like their class and what they promote to, which again, the game doesn't tell you what they're gonna promote to. It just asks if you want to give them a promotion when they reach level 10. So, if you go further, it goes into all of the different weapons, all the classes that can use them, and their stats. Except for like the special weapons, they just have a question mark. So,
I mean, who knew that an instruction manual might have worthwhile information in it?
so you go back and it has all the items and it tells you exactly what they do and like the rings and stuff and bracelets and all of that. Like, you can equip them, but you have to actually go into your menu and use them to get the effect. So it made me think about when you go back to play these retro games, or when, you know, say I show, you know, my daughter or my son these old games and they take an interest or they don't, or whoever takes an interest in, you know, Shining Force. There's many ways to play Shining Force. You can play it on Steam, you can play it on PlayStation, you can play it on Xbox, you can play it on Switch.
The whole 12 of you.
So,
Did you get a haircut?
Yes, I did.
Did you get a haircut today?
No. Yesterday.
Yesterday or yes?
Yesterday.
Looks good.
Thank you. Trying to go with something maybe like sort of the same, but I'm kind of keeping it longer up here. So.
Yeah.
So y'all
I like it.
call me Rico Suave.
I will not.
So,
I'll call you Chupapi.
I mean, if you play Shining Force on whatever you choose or whatever game in question that is a little more in depth, it's not just the cut and dry platformer or, you know, sports game, whatever. So, if I just pick up Shining Force on the Switch and I'm trying to play it and I'm trying to figure out what these items do, or I'm trying to figure out the menu system, because the menu system is kind of wonky. If I'm trying to figure all that out, it's not really easy. I mean, yeah, I can pick up my phone and look at stuff, etc., but it's a little more frustrating, and I might lose interest if I have to just constantly Google something. Because if you Google something, you have to filter through all the nonsense and actually find what you're looking for. Whereas if I just picked it up, put it in the Genesis, and whatever I need is right here in the manual, right at my fingertips at all times.
Well, and it's odd to me that, like, in the instance of Switch, that they don't have a digital instruction manual.
They might, for depending on the way that you play it. I don't know if they have it for like the emulator, like the Sega Genesis emulator on the Switch. They might have it in like the Genesis collection. It's like the Ultimate Genesis collection or whatever.
Sega.
So they might have it there, but then I have to exit out of my game and click into there, and like it's more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it should be a feature to where there is a key button, whatever.
Yeah.
Where you just hit it and it opens the instruction manual. Like, it pauses the game and opens the instruction manual, so you can reference that. You know, maybe I'm defeating the point here, but I think your point is that that's an important piece that we need to bring forward.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when I'm looking at you know my retro collection and playing my retro collection and even picking up a new game that I have never played, like Shining Force. Like, I played it first on my Switch. I was able to beat it and move through it, but I did have to Google quite a few times on what to do, what this means, what this item does, you know, etc. Like,
well, Google's getting shitty anyway. But
yeah, I mean, I had to go to a different forums, and it was just more of a pain than it was worth.
DuckDuckGo.
Whereas if I would have gone out and, you know, but I have to buy it complete to get the manual, or I have to pick up a manual separate, which, again, it's just more of a pain. But
I wonder if that's online anywhere.
It probably is.
Like
yeah.
a PDF version.
They have, like, websites that have scans of, you know, manuals and
PDF conversion
stuff like that
or something.
for like game preservation and stuff.
For a
like
nominal
they scan
fee.
in box arts and
A
like
nominal
full box
fee.
arts and everything, covers, manuals, anything
Yeah.
that goes into a game they scan through. So it just made me think, like, there's a piece missing if you're like a loose cartridge collector. It's a piece missing of sitting down with the game the way that it was intended, to open up this case and pull out the manual and then look through the manual, kind of get a feel for it before you even put the cartridge in the system.
Yeah, but I have to wonder how many of us actually looked at the damn manual when we got it as a kid anyway. Like,
True.
None of us actually. I mean, case in point, Super Nintendo games. Do you have any of those over there that are complete in box?
Yeah.
Let me see one.
I'll just grab the one that's not in a protector.
So Star Fox. So Super Nintendo. Prime difference is that with like Sega, the case is the box, the clamshell.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, inside here there's a tray. The cartridge is inside that. It might have a little sleeve that goes over the bottom of the cartridge.
Yeah.
And then it's a loose instruction manual that I promise you probably lost within the first week.
Maybe.
Because there's no case for this cartridge. You take it out of this box. Some people might have put it back in the box, but it's a cardboard box. It's not, hard plastic like a Sega or... And the same was true for when Nintendo did the N64.
It was. I think Nintendo mainly had boxes up
right.
until like the GameCube.
Exactly. Like cases...
When discs started to take over.
Yes. Cases weren't a thing. And, a disc... It would be ludicrous to put that in a box and expect somebody to, kind of like adopt a storage solution. But with a cartridge, they were robust, unless you were literally throwing them at walls or at somebody else, they were pretty okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But to my point, Sega was a smaller market share than its competitors. They had the best system for storing their games, so retaining that instruction manual wasn't terribly hard. But with like Nintendo products, it became challenging.
Yeah.
Especially as you grew like a big collection, because I think I had close to 100 Super Nintendo games when I was a kid. And I had all the manuals. They were in a drawer under the TV in a little entertainment center. And anytime, the one time I did go to look for one was on Home Alone, because I couldn't understand this one part, and my grandfather was like, "Look in the booklet." And I'm like, that's actually a good idea. That's like the first good idea you've had my entire life. No, he was awesome. But to the point, I spent probably 10 minutes finding that damn booklet. So, and Nintendo was interesting, too, in that if you look at their booklets, and I don't know if this is true with Sega, I don't think it is, because the Shining Force instruction manual you just had looks very different from what I remember the Sonic manual to be.
I don't think I have.
And but at any rate, Nintendo was like, this is what you get to put out for an instruction manual. This is the booklet you get.
Yeah.
It's, black. It's going to have your art here. It's going to do this. Like, they templated it. And I think that also was important, because when you present a unified front for your console that way, regardless of publisher, people develop more trust. They start to kind of build a following on that, because they feel more comfortable with the familiarity between all of the titles.
Yeah, depending on the games that you're playing, there is the button layout does carry over. If you're playing a racing game, it's relatively the same. If you're playing a platformer, pretty much the same. There's just different mechanics that you have to know, but you can pick up mechanics by just trial and error.
And that was another thing, curiously enough. Like, do you actually think that it is a setback for a publisher if they adopt a different button scheme than what is generally accepted? Like, if you have, we all know that with racing games on PlayStation, L2
R2
is it R2? Yeah, R2 trigger. Is the gas. I was saying the brake. L2 is the brake, and R2 is the gas. But it's the lower triggers, because they have that gradual progressive motion to them on the new controllers. If somebody were to switch that up and go back to like Mash X for the gas, would that impede their success?
I think it all depends on like where you're, because when I'm playing World of Outlaws, the left joystick is what controls the car, but if you need to rip off the visor, it's up on the directional pad. So I have to take my thumb off the stick. So that is kind of annoying. I think I can remap it. I just never did.
That's cool, though, because in a real car, to tear off your tear-off, you have to let go of the steering wheel.
I guess that's true. But
with at least one hand.
Yeah, but you have at least one hand on. So, it...
Well, buy a racing wheel.
I mean, well, yeah, but that's a lot of money.
I know somebody that does that.
So do I.
Zeller's crazy about that. Like, he's got full iRacing set up in his basement. Yeah, actually, we did iRacing for a little while together when I had some time over the winter. But
I actually grabbed it was a Logitech steering wheel with the shifter and everything.
G29 with the gated?
I don't even know. I bought it off of Marketplace for like $100. And the lady actually forgot to give me the power supply for it. So I had to order a power supply for it, which wasn't, anything crazy. It was just like a general power supply for something like that. So I just ordered one off of Amazon. But I did want to because that was when I got my gaming PC. So I was going to set that up at a desk and sit there and try and do a racing sim, because I really do enjoy more of the simulation racing games rather than the arcade racing games. I mean, I still like those too, but when it comes to a simulation racing, I like, and the iRacing was just starting to offer dirt track racing. So I was like, yeah, I want to try this. I just never ever did. And then I just sold the Logitech thing, and I sold it for $275, I think. Yeah. But that is something that I would love to try. If I was at somebody's house that had a setup, I would definitely give it a shot. It would probably be dangerous, because then I'd be I would like it and be like, oh, great, now I have to...
Dude, those rigs are thousands.
Mm-hmm. If you do it crazy, yeah. My brother-in-law, my older brother-in-law, not my younger brother-in-law, I think he still is. He might not be, but he has a 3-monitor setup at his desk with a steering wheel and stuff. But there's a person that I know that actually bought a sprint car frame and mounted a monitor perfectly, and mounted everything perfectly so that they could be sitting in a sprint.
That's expensive as hell.
While they were, I think they got the frame for like next to nothing. But it was just like an old frame that somebody had sitting around, so they just like made it a thing.
I think sprint car frames are 79.5 and 80.5. I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at them.
Yeah. So back to manuals and the way that games are meant to be played.
Buy a strategy guide.
I mean, yeah.
That's the way to go.
I don't even know how we segued into iRacing rigs. Oh, we got to the button layouts.
Oh, the button.
Yeah, but like different manuals, you know, depending on the game you play. Some games like you don't need a manual to play it.
If I were a developer today,
mm-hmm.
I would love to publish a game hard copy, not digital download.
You were saying about you would love to be a developer or print
a
game.
Just so I could include an instruction manual that was literally one sheet of paper. Black.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that if you even had a sliver of paper that went into a case, people would be like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
What?
But big white bold letters on it, just "Don't suck," with a big old period at the end.
Get good.
Get good.
But yeah, I looked through that manual.
Oh, now she's backing up. Now she's backpedaling. It's only if I had to.
I looked through that manual and it made me think of like if you sit down to play a retro game and you have the ability, because I mean when you buy CIB games, it definitely does hike up the price. You know, especially if you're doing like more sought after games. Like, Shining Force isn't a crazy price, and but when you look at the original Zelda on NES or Zelda 2 for that matter, if you have the ability to pick something like that up, CIB with the manual, with the map, and actually sit down, put your phone far from you, and just turn it on, spread the map out in front of you, and just play the game like you were playing that game during that time period. I think that is just taking that retro experience to that next level.
Well, yeah, because that's how it was intended. And, I mean, like, if you take and compare today
Yeah.
with, say, 94, 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you just look at the speed that everything happens at. Everything, as soon as something happens, everybody knows about it. It's
Yeah.
all over social media. People are
Mhm.
constantly on their phones. They're constantly connected to communication and data and news, and I won't say it's bad. I think it's great to be connected to people, and I think it's really good to be able to understand what's going on.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly. Because, having been there in 94 and being able to remember that, yes, I'm that old, it was nice then too.
Yeah.
And it might have even been nicer then.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was more dangerous to be a parent then because you didn't know as much, or if it was simply whether, what you don't know can't hurt you. I don't really agree with that, but
so if you want to look at it that way, if you want to dive into the weeds there, thinking about being a parent, if I was to be a parent now at the age my daughter is, we'd be at like what 90, 94, pretty much like 94, 95. So
the Hess truck was a helicopter.
So
don't ask me why I know that.
Just to think about that, like you had a landline telephone, so like if you
cell phones,
if you sent them to somebody's house, they were able to call you, from the landline if they needed help.
Context, real quick. Cell phones literally plugged into your car lighter. And they still had lighters in cars. There was no smartphone. It wasn't... the internet was not yet a thing in the public realm at that point. Like,
yeah,
this is
whoa. Disconnected as disconnected can be.
Well, I mean, we didn't have, like,
for the most
rotary
part.
phones or, like, Telegram, but...
So, like, the world was a different place then. Technology was much less... are you sending me a SOS? Technology was much less than what
less
it is
mature.
now. Yeah. So if you trying to put yourself in the mindset of being in that time frame and looking after a child, like it definitely would be much more carefree because you don't have the constant flow of information and, you're sitting watching reels and somebody's kid gets terminally sick from this or is born with this or this freak accident happened or this person's kid has been missing for 2 weeks and it's like 2 blocks from your street and... all of you didn't have all of that.
But you did.
You did, but it was
you
had much less. You had to go out and search for it.
Like it happened, you just weren't aware of it.
So, if you think about then, it would probably be much less stressful in terms of like your worry, your anxiety, your, what you're exactly worried about, rather than now where it's like, my daughter has a friend down the street. She's going to go down to their house, and I can see a Facebook post that's like, there's a kid that just got picked up in a black Silverado, on this street. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's 2 streets away from ours. Like,
Don't you
no.
have a Silverado?
No, I have a Colorado.
Lucky.
But it's like, you know, you see that kind of stuff and it freaks you out and it makes you think, and you're constantly worried about the next thing or what's going to happen. Is it going to happen near me, this or that? And it's too much. It's too much. You can easily sit down and scroll through your Instagram reels or your Facebook reels or whatever, TikTok or whatever your choice of poison is, and you can find some sort of thing that pops in your algorithm that says, hey, I know you weren't worrying about this, but you are now.
Mm-hmm. So to that end, are people smarter today than they were 30
No,
years ago? Exactly.
absolutely not.
Right.
We are
so we
dumber
have
than ever.
the amount of awareness, the availability of information, all of that combined, and somehow the general consensus is that things have regressed
Yeah.
from an intellectual standpoint. So we are likely more aware and maybe have a broader sense of intelligence, you know, spread out over a greater area than we did previously, you know, because you could only focus on so many things when you had to rely on books in a library.
Yeah, or a newspaper, or
Exactly.
catching the news at the right time.
Yeah, like if you didn't see the news at 6:30, you were waiting until 10.
Dude, so it takes me, when I'm up at the cabin and it's just like me and the guys up at the hunting camp,
Be careful how you say that.
they will literally, you know, there will be 1 or 2 of them that after the movie, they're like, all right, we're going to put the news on. I just want to see what's going on. And they have to catch it when the news comes on. And if you miss it, you have to wait until like 11:30 or something like that. And it's like, it takes me back to like that simpler time of like, oh, like, and when I'm up there, I don't have phone service. If I need to search something, I can't, it does not work.
Yep.
I can't find it.
Well, and like,
So I literally have to just either bank on the weather being nice, or you have to catch the news to
For the
see the
forecast.
weather forecast.
growing up, you know, it was like, so I grew up in the Baltimore suburbs, kind of. We were actually pretty far from Baltimore, but it was in that viewing area,
Yeah.
that network area, because there's a hard line right there at the Mason-Dixon for news and networks and cable TV. And it was like, you know, 5 o'clock came and the news went on, and they had the news from 5 to 5:30, 5:30 to 6, and 6 to 6:30. So you go 5 to 6:30 with the news on, you know, grandmother's making dinner, Papa's probably asleep somewhere. That was mine. But around that, you know, it was Nickelodeon. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to watch Nickelodeon. So like from 4 to 5, and then, you know, 6:30 to like say 8 o'clock. And then you got into these problem areas where it was like, oh, Rocket Power's on at 5:30 now.
Yeah.
And it's like, Pop, I'm trying to see something, boy. And I'm just like, well, okay, but all right, fine. This is the news. It changes every day.
The worst was when my dad would be in the living room on his chair sleeping. And the rare occasion where I had like nothing to do and I wanted to like watch TV, and I would go in and change the channel and be like, hey, I was watching that. And I'm like, you were just snoring. What are you talking about?
It's like, how do they open their eyes at the sound of like just the sound changing in the room on the CRT?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Much simpler times. And you know, I get jealous and kind of envious when, you know, I'm sitting up, I'm talking to like they're all older than me by a long shot. And you know, they'll talk to me about, you know, either the areas that I grew up, or, you know, they're telling me something that happened down the road, and they're like trying to give me like the directions, and they're like, yeah, if you go down 616 and you take a right there, and you like, they're giving me all these like road names and highway names, and I'm like, what? Then they'll say like something that like clicks, and I'm like, oh, that's what you're talking about. okay, I see. But like they're so, that's what they had to do. They had to navigate that way. They had to learn all of those areas and the road names and the highway names, and it's much I get envious of that, because I wish I could do that, but I'm so plugged in because it's just my generation.
Do you remember before MapQuest?
No.
Like, so I do.
I remember every time we would go to the beach, my mom would print out the MapQuest directions.
Exactly, because that's what you had to do. Like and then they came up with like the Garmin and the TomTom. That was
my
like
God,
high school
dude.
era
We
for
had
me,
the
like
when
mid
we had the
2000s.
TomTom, we were living luxury, baby.
Right?
We had a screen that will tell us where to go. It tells us the route and where to turn. What?
And now you can do it on a device that you carry around with you everywhere,
Yeah.
including take pictures, communicate with people through text, call them if you'd like, get your email,
You
send
can
an email,
voice chat with them.
video call, play a
You
game.
can take 4K video.
I have an app on my phone where it's actually a code compiler.
Yeah.
So like, I can just slam code from my phone. What else? What else do we do from our phones?
Anything.
And then you have Snapchat,
You can do anything with your
glamorous how you can just say something and it's gone. I like that though,
Well,
because that's how it used to be.
it's not technically gone, because then wasn't there a thing at a high school where they were able to access like back records.
Well, I'm sure there's a log somewhere.
Yeah,
if
they
you
were like
contacted,
able to access like back records, and they were able to like bring other stuff out. And there was like, kids, like you can't just post yourself doing illegal things and expect to get away. Like that is a crazy thing to me.
Google Maps, perfect example.
Yeah, it's the TomTom in your pocket.
Well, no, not just that. Did you know that if you use Google Maps, it will actually track your history everywhere you
we
go?
had that discussion.
Yeah,
on
dude,
one of the
like,
podcasts,
whoa. No,
Like,
thank you.
The youth thinks that they can just. There was a kid, like, a couple blocks away, who stabbed another kid, and posted on Snapchat that he poked him up, and the police were like, "Thanks for the evidence. Appreciate it."
Okay, so I tell Adelaide this all the time. You can't unring a bell. The internet is the perfect example. Once it is there, somebody else has it.
Yes.
It's never going away unless they decide to.
Yeah.
And most of these companies are not going to just, say to the police, "Oh, no, we're not helping you," because that would be advantageous for them, right? I can see a lot of good PR coming from that.
What are you hiding?
Exactly. We literally put tracking devices in our own pockets.
And you can buy offshoot devices to track other things.
Yes.
With that device.
Yeah, like AirTags.
AirTags, yeah.
So AirTag has an interesting feature now. Did you know that if your phone detects an AirTag around you that is not registered to your iCloud ID, it will notify you that AirTag is following you?
What?
You have an AirTag, right? Let's say you have an AirTag in your wallet.
Uh-huh.
And your wallet is in my car.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Sure.
And my phone picks up your AirTag. It will notify me that AirTag is following me and it's not registered to my account.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure it has to be away from your phone in order to pick that up.
That would make sense, yeah.
So, like, if you're just in my car and the AirTag's in your wallet in case you lose it,
Mm-hmm.
Then, if we're both around, it doesn't tell me. But when you get up and your wallet falls out of your pocket in my car and I'm driving home, it's going to be like, "Hey, this thing's following you."
Does it say the name of the AirTag? Like, would it say, like, LJ's AirTag or something?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because that's also a privacy violation.
Yeah, I guess that's true. AirTags are interesting to me. Like, I like the fact that like you could sew one in like your kid's shoe or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and even other devices that don't have like a dedicated like tracking thing, so to speak, still like track location.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was like a story at one point. I think it was a young girl got like kidnapped, and she had her Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
And they were able to track her and find out where she was because she had her Nintendo Switch with her, or something with a Nintendo Switch and tracking something.
Well, so
which is wild.
it's like, so all devices that operate on Wi-Fi have what's called a MAC ID, right?
Yeah.
And it's unique. It's the device ID.
Mm-hmm.
Switch is only Wi-Fi. It doesn't have cellular as far as I'm aware, so that had to be what it was. But if you have a device, let's say she was at home, the router identified that device. It has a log of it, so it knows its MAC ID. If you take that MAC ID and then you start looking at different Wi-Fi networks to see where it's hitting, if it has hit them, and do a query on it, I mean, that's a lot of work.
It's
because
crazy.
There's not like a national database of, where is this MAC ID right now, but
Yeah.
that will tell you like which Wi-Fi networks it's connecting to,
Yeah.
because it's trying to
Which
jump from one to one as it passes them.
Must have been how that was fine. What's going on, Mort? Thanks for joining in, buddy.
Hey, boy. Well,
It's interesting that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff interests me. Like, think about back in like the 90s, all of the things that were going on, the things that people probably got away with, and now everybody has a camera at an instant. There's cameras mounted anywhere you are. Like, I don't know how people still think they can get away with anything.
it's a detective's heaven.
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, and that's really, so the police, again, with that history piece, they can say, hey, Google, who was near here when this happened?
Yeah.
And then suddenly Google's like, all these people.
Yeah.
And then they have basically whoever they need to talk to. Hey, did you happen to get a video of this? Did you see this? Did you get a video of this?
Uh-oh. Zeller's in here.
Oh, boy.
Whoa, dude, you can't say queried.
Damn it. Wow.
It must be in the name that you guys just have this little filter that doesn't catch certain things.
I mean, query's a little bit different than the other word, but he's got a point. Happy Pride Month, everyone. To those who celebrate, to those who don't.
It's also men's mental health month, too.
June is?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
That's important.
I didn't know that either.
That's really important.
I was actually on Instagram, and I saw one of the content creators that I watch, Mr. Rightway, posted that it's Men's Mental Health Month.
Oh, happy Mental Health Month. Go do something for your mental health, man.
Yeah, play a video game.
Play around a golf.
Or golf. Golf's a good one. I vote golf. Get ripped and play some golf. Dude,
you do that too well.
We were floating.
I know. I got the text. You were definitely 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you could actually hit the ball by the time you were. You guys didn't get ripped until after the round.
We were as the round was ending. That was when all of it started to catch up. We were at the bar waiting for the girls to come in, and we were.
And that's when it was kind of like, woo.
Yeah. The girl showed up, and we were just like, oh, we're pretty lit here.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
Her dad.
You were toasty.
There's a video I have of him that she just sent me. There was a giant pepper shaker, like this big, mounted to like one of the pillars in the restaurant. And he just snatched it off the wall and was like peppering the food. Dude. There was a couple behind us, an old couple, and they got their food, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to order. So we were just like staring at what they had, and the one guy got a pork chop. Dude, that pork chop was like that thick. And then she got chicken Chesapeake, and I was like, oh, the chicken Chesapeake is the one, baby. And he got the pork chop, and we split it.
Go up to First Post. Get the pork chop.
I've never been there.
Dude, everything at the First Post is good. Everything. Literally everything. I want to go there right now.
All right.
Oh.
So
I'm drooling.
We kind of touched on like the social media aspect, and we did touch on like the YouTube
Pride Month. We didn't touch anything.
The YouTube and like streaming culture for like modern gaming.
Okay.
Do you think that YouTube and like the streaming culture ruins modern game releases?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the problem...
We need to get Mort back for this one.
The problem that I have...
Is he still here? Did you leave?
The problem that I have with, like, not so much YouTube culture as a whole, but like the ones that are mainly streamers first and YouTube content creators second. They just kind of post their streams on YouTube in like segments of whatever. I feel like they take any little imperfection from a modern game and zoom in on it.
Well, yeah.
Whether it's just like alpha like gameplay footage, or like the what this model looks like, or what this gameplay mechanic is, and they just pick it apart so much that I feel like, you know, these people are getting millions of views on their videos, and that has influence.
It's like Twitch streamers. I mean, you know, I think it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, are you ruining the surprise factor for a new game? Because there's certain things in a game where it's like, you know, the element of surprise, that first glance feeling of like, take for instance The Last of Us, you know, when you're the giraffes, that there's a feeling in that moment with that game that can't be replicated if you see it and you're not doing it.
Yeah, like the recent thing now is Silent Hill 2.
What about it?
The remake of it.
What about it?
Apparently, they're talking about they've changed a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they changed an outfit for one of the characters, and they didn't stay true to the original. Mm-hmm. It's like a completely different outfit. And then you have one of the character models is like really different. So like they're really picking it up, but they're like picking apart other like little tiny minuscule things, which like a character model and how they look versus what the game looks like when it's finished. I mean, they have until October.
So here's the thing. There's a time for attention to detail.
Yeah.
I am all about attention to detail. Like, I will notice the smallest details in anything. There's an art to knowing when that's important and when it's arbitrary. And I think that in that space, I just said that really weird. But in the space for YouTube culture, every little thing is an opportunity. Because if you start to exploit every little thing, you get interest, you get viewers, you get people that are like, oh, yeah, I never saw that. Oh, yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah.
Is that important to me? Is that important to me? Should that be important to me? Am I weird because I don't care? You know, it's just this thing of capitalizing on any little thing that you can use to expand your episodes, your reach, and cater to a bigger group.
When you've got like the top streamers or top people even on YouTube that are talking about, you know, all these little imperfections on a game that hasn't even probably even finished development at this point.
Yo, if you're ripping apart a game that's still in testing, go to hell.
So like
I'm sorry,
this is a trailer that's been released to the public. So it was like their update trailer on the game. It gave the release date. It didn't really show a whole lot. But from what they showed, people are just analyzing it under the biggest microscope.
And that's what I'm saying.
But these people have millions of views, all these people. And when you're reaching out to a group that wants to latch on to something, they want to be a part of something, they feel like they're part of this community, and they fit in, and maybe they have these struggles in the real world, but on this YouTubers Discord or in the comment section, they have this sense of belonging to,
you mean something there,
because they attach themselves to their belief. It kind of runs the hype of the game into the ground before it's even released.
So what I'm saying here is, as somebody who's been intimately involved with software development and releases, I can tell you that if I'm in a stage where I have not said, this is the product, have fun with it,
yeah,
and it's still in testing, and you're sitting there making videos that are 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour long on every little thing that's wrong, send me an Excel spreadsheet with a list of things that you found so I can deal with them and make sure they're addressed. Don't turn it into this big, huge deal and be a frickin' asshole about it. Like, I can promise you that most developers at game, publishers probably don't watch those YouTube videos simply because they would be through the roof.
I don't know why, but it just made me think of that scene in Grandma's Boy where the guy walks into JP and he's like, hey, we noticed that, the elves in the level, you can't tell them apart. So what if we just rendered them different colors? It would save development time, and it would, you'd be able to tell them apart. And he's like, that's a stupid idea. Get out. And just kicks him out. And then JP's in the room by himself, and he's like,
he had a good idea. Shut up. Mind your own business.
Kane is the guy that went in, and he goes and he sits down at the table with Nick Swartzen, and he's like, I'm a piece of shit, and just puts his head down and calm down, Kane. You're not a piece of shit.
Oh, man.
And then JP pitches it as it was his idea to Samantha. It just made me think of that scene.
That shit happens all the time. Well, I mean, not with my current team, but in past teams many, many years ago, it was I'd be like, what about this? And we'd be sitting in a freaking meeting 2 hours later, and they'd read this off and be like, are you fucking shitting me?
So speaking of movies.
Oh, we got to do that.
We're going
to do that. We're going to segue. We're going to cut right from that. Just me having a meltdown.
So we just released the 2001 episode
A Space Odyssey
today. Because 2001 was just, filled with so many bangers.
A Space Odyssey.
It was insane. So
they had apes in that movie, right?
What?
Apes in 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I don't think I've ever seen that, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh my god.
We're gonna do 2002 to 2005. So we're gonna have 2001 be its own thing, and then we're gonna be 2002 to 2005, and then we'll pick it up in normal next week or the following week whenever these come out.
This list is not great. I mean, these years were not great.
I also forgot to put a fourth movie in 2002. I just realized because I was waiting for you.
I didn't get any notifications on it, so
you should have. I updated it today.
Did you click done when you were done?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe I missed it.
So
I probably missed it today.
2002. I'm looking at honorable mentions for what I think they should be. This is a little out of order, but whatever.
I'm gonna look at this list and I'm probably gonna go off, aren't I?
Maybe Resident Evil, like the Mila Jovovich ones, not the greatest.
She was great.
Not the greatest. The first
Those movies weren't, but
the first
she did quite well.
the first 2 or 3 were decent, but then they just got
You bitch.
they got off of, like, they just went way too action packed and they were just really bad. Rollerball. Please tell me you know Rollerball.
I know Rollerball.
That movie, I don't know why, but I loved that movie when I was a kid. That movie was wild. And Signs, because that was like, I wouldn't say my first like sci-fi-ish movie when it came out, but pretty close.
Signs was pretty good.
The top 4 though are 8 Mile. I mean,
Got one shot.
dude, the amount of times that I've gotten sucked in to watching 8 Mile when, like, I'm just, like, scrolling through, like, a channel on the TV, and I'm like, oh, 8 Mile's on, I'll just put that on, and I'm just laser-focused watching it, and I'm like, well, I gotta finish this now.
Have you seen the reel where they put that scene from 8 Mile to the J.G. Wentworth jingle?
Yeah.
J.G. Wentworth!
Yeah. Yeah, it's like loosely... It's loosely based on, like, Eminem's life.
I don't know how loose it is. I mean,
I know they,
like it's
changed,
definitely a...
They changed certain things, but it's not like a straight, like...
Well, no,
scene
it's a
for
dramatization.
scene. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Cheddar Bob actually shot himself. Like that.
Dude, the rap battles in this are top tier.
Look, Snoop Dogg has got a fucking boob job.
Yeah, it's a movie that I'll just forever get sucked into watching, just because the rap battles are top tier. They're so great.
This guy's a gangster. His real name's Clarence.
Jackass, the movie Jackass, not
The
not
original.
the original movie.
The original Jackass. Johnny Knoxville.
Yes. This was huge for the time.
Yeah, it was so stupid, though.
It wasn't.
Yes, it was. Dude, how can you call any of that not stupid?
Well, it's stupid as in the stuff that they're doing.
yeah, I mean, it's
sure.
entertaining, yes, but
like
it's...
that was like a pivotal point for like that group of dudes making a literal like feature film movie.
Dude, I guarantee you that movie is exactly why those dumbasses at my high school flipped those cars.
100%.
Like, that is exactly what gave... They were like, oh, we could act a fool and not get in trouble for it.
100%. Goldmember, my favorite Austin Powers movie, dude.
It looks like a baby's arm holding an apple.
Dude, the amount of times I've watched this, the amount that I've quoted it, every time I watch it, I have to just quote.
Shagadelic, baby.
Dude, I love when he has the twins.
Oh, God.
And he like looks back and forth. He's like, and then Basil comes in. He's like, twins, Basil, twins. And he's like, it's about your father. And he's like, very heavy, man. And then he sings the "Daddy Wasn't There" song.
Oh, God.
Daddy wasn't there.
So, what? Remind me, because I'm a little blurry on this one. Was this the one that had the tent scene in it, or was that the other Austin Powers?
The tent scene, like
Tent, like camping tent, like the scene where they're in the tent and and the silhouette is there, and like
no, this is that one.
Yeah.
Mini-Me comes in, and he grabs the apple and he's tossing it, and it shows him snatching it, and takes a bite and drops it down. Yeah, dude. And when Austin Powers' dad finds him and he's like, "Oh my God, you're a tripod," and he's like leaning on it. Beyonce was in this one. Yeah, dude. This
No.
and Fat Bastard.
You've
Oh my God, dude. This is an absolute classic, especially for me. And then the fourth one,
if it's not the last one in the list, we got a problem.
We'll put Drumline, because I'm pretty sure that was the one. Nick Cannon's like only good movie.
Dog shit movie, but it was awesome.
It wasn't the greatest, but it was pretty good.
It did a lot to bring that into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Which I think was important. Like, I look at the stuff that they have for Drumlines now in schools, and it's just flooded. I mean, so many kids are playing.
Dude, the people that post on the short form media where they're doing like all these tricks and stick tricks and flip tricks, and it's crazy.
It's gotten wild.
But
It's gotten
that
truly
was like
wild.
the first iteration that I saw of like anything like that. If
I don't know if they made one after that, so
if I had to choose one, oh man, it's a toss up between 8 Mile and Goldmember. I think because I like so many comedy movies, I'm just gonna have to say Goldmember.
it's Goldmember. 8 Mile was good, but like the context of 8 Mile, you know, it's really based around Eminem, which isn't a problem, but it makes it almost more of like documentary-ish
So kind of.
in dramatized form
Yeah.
than, you know, those rap battles. I think the audio of 8 Mile is really better than
Dude,
the actual.
I could listen to the rap battles
yeah,
legitimately.
exactly. But, you know, Goldmember is literal gold for comedy.
I want to paint as you who gold. Damn. The taste of it, the smell of it. Oh, I love it.
Oh, Jake.
2003. Let me see if I had any for honorable mentions, since I'm an unprepared, unprofessional man. Yeah.
I'll name the honorable mentions.
Okay.
So,
There has.
Based-
If
okay.
you don't say one, I'm just gonna choke. you.
Holes
Holes is a
is definitely an honorable mention. It was
Yeah.
based on a book.
Stanley
that was,
Yelnats.
Yeah. That was foundational for so many kids, like, growing
Dude,
up to read that.
We read the book in school, and then to see it in movie form.
Yeah,
that was-
and with John Voight and Shia LaBeouf.
yeah, dude.
Like, they had an all-star cast.
And it was good. Like, it was a good movie.
Well, it was bound to be good. It was based on the book, and the book was just fantastic. I
Yeah.
think, you know, if you have a good book, movies are usually...
Well.
Give me an example.
Running with Scissors.
Fair.
That movie was awful, but the books were fantastic. Augustin Burroughs, top notch.
On another honorable mention is going to be Malibu's Most Wanted.
Jamie Kennedy.
That is a kicker.
Yep.
It's if you want to just kind of sit down and laugh at dumb shit,
That's
that's a great one. And I'll just let you pick it so I don't pick the wrong one.
The Rundown.
Yep.
Sean William Scott and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That one is a very good movie. I always get Walking Tall and The Rundown mixed up. Sean William Scott is a guy that's hunting for like a treasure in like a temple. It's called the Gato.
Right.
And Dwayne The Rock Johnson is hunting down Sean William Scott. Oh my God, why? The people's names that I draw blanks on blow my mind. Christopher Walken is like the guy hunting after the Gato too, and he's got like the island basically behind his back, and they're armed to the teeth.
That was a good
super
one.
good movie. It's got comedy in it. Sean William Scott. I mean,
Action.
it's action. It's really the best part is when they meet up with Rosario Dawson
Yep.
and they're swimming into the waterfall, and she says that to not pee in the water or else a thing will slide up his pintu, and he goes, not my pintu.
That's funny. But we actually got one more honorable mention. For my kid, because the first time she saw this, she loved it, and it's much older than she is. Freaky Friday.
Yeah, that's a classic. Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis.
I can't wait to see your daughter watch that for the first time.
Yeah,
if she hasn't already.
She's been watching, like more. We've started to kind of like let her. She watched Edward Scissorhands, which is one of Alicia's favorite movies.
Bro.
She thought that was really good.
Do you-
That's a pretty kid. I wouldn't say it's like a movie that she shouldn't watch. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
the message is fantastic.
she's about at that age. Maybe let her watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
They're not even comparable.
No, not at all. But
Yeah, I mean the message between with Edward Scissorhands, he's a robot with scissors for hands, and everybody judges him based on his looks, but he can do some really masterful things. He's going and cutting people's hair into like these crazy shapes and trimming the hedges and this and that, and then everybody starts to accept him, and then he tries to help somebody, ends up hurting them, and then they all turn on him and misunderstood, and then they run him off, and it's from the perspective of Winona Ryder's character. She's telling the story to her daughter about how she fell in love with the guy in the castle.
What's the one movie with the house?
There's a lot of those.
Like, it's a kids movie, but it's not horror, but it kind of is horror. It's this girl in a house. I think she has snow globes. Am I dreaming this? Like,
Maybe.
oh, this is weird. I'll have to ask my daughter what it was that she was watching.
So we'll go into the top 4 now. This top 4 is pretty solid.
Eh.
Grind. This is an absolute 100% bona fide classic on all fronts. I love this movie. It's a skateboard movie. It's so good.
It's good. I don't know about bona fide classic, but
oh my god! When they're in the honeymoon suite, and they're all like, they've got 2 guys in the bed, 2 guys sleeping on the floor, and someone farts, and they're like, Matt, and he laughs, and then someone else farts, and they're like, Matt, and he goes, that wasn't me. And then the guy that owns the hotel is in the bed, and he's like, sorry. And they all like run out.
do you remember Without a Paddle?
Yeah. That's in maybe not. Maybe we might have passed that one already.
No, we didn't.
Oh, I shouldn't have.
Get the hell out of here. No. How did you
American Wedding. This might be my favorite like American Pie movie. It's when Jason Biggs gets married to the girl from band camp, and they try and keep Stifler away from the wedding, and he gets to keep the rings, and he's so focused on talking to that bridesmaid that he drops the rings, the dog eats the rings, and he's waiting for the dog to poop out the rings.
Is this the one where Finch does Stifler's mom?
Yes. And the dog finally poops out the rings, and he picks them up with the truffle thing, and the girl's parents see, and he eats it and shoves it in his mouth, and you can see it all in his teeth.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really rich and creamy.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That's a classic.
Stifler, your mom.
Because I think They have a. Oh no, this is.
Hey, Finchy.
I think this is where the guys are spying on them. It's they spy on Stifler's mom, and she's in like the bathtub, and then you see Finch come up out of the suds, and they see that it was him, and they're like, "What?" This one is a must-watch during the holiday season. Bad Santa. The best scene in this movie is when he's eating at the food court, and the mom and son come up to him, and she's telling her son, like, go ahead, tell him what you want for Christmas. And he's like eating. He's got like some salad like hanging out of his mouth, and the kid like starts to talk to him, and he's like,
I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay?
Dude, there's one scene better than that though, but I don't know if I should go there.
hint at what it is.
I believe they were in a dressing room.
Oh my god. The kid that carved, he gives him, because he stays at his house with grandma, and he hands him this thing that he carved, and he's like, what is it? And he's like, it's a wooden pickle. And he's like, what's all over it? He's like, it's my blood from when I cut my hand. Oh my god. Dude,
You ain't gonna shit right for him, weak.
Billy Bob Thornton in this movie, dude. He killed this role of being an absolute like piss drunk Santa. Dude, we try and watch it. Like, it's in our Christmas movie rotation. It's so good. And then one of the best collaboration movies, Freddy vs. Jason. Dude, this movie is literally early 2000s in a nutshell. The soundtrack is early 2000s. The effects in this movie and like the way that it's like the way that it's shot, the way that it has like these certain scenes, it's the epitome of the early 2000s. And the best part is when I think it's Kelly Rowland. She's talking to Freddy. She's like, "Hey, Freddy!" And he's like walking towards her, and she's like, "You got those little, small things, and Jason's got this big old thing." And Freddy's like, and she turns around, and Jason just obliterates her against a tree, and it's the funniest scene. It's not supposed to be funny, but it is very comical. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie.
Check. 1, 2.
Out of these four, though,
American Wedding.
I think I'm going to have to choose Grind. I have to choose Grind. Team Pup and Suds, baby.
Do you really want me to say it?
Go ahead.
The only reason you picked Grind is because you understand what it's like to do that.
Maybe to an extent. But it's a good movie. I love it.
And by that, I mean sleep with other men in a hotel room.
I've done that.
Well,
2004. Honorable mentions here.
tread carefully, sir. I will interject as necessary.
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. That's a classic.
Dude, I love those
that,
little White Castle burgers.
Is that the one that has Neil Patrick Harris in it?
I think so.
Yeah. This is a classic. Like, I would consider it a stoner comedy. Like,
oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's not even a consider. It's like, you can rubber stamp that one.
It's this one where they go to that dude's, what's his name? He's like the real like deformed guy. And he has like a smoking hot wife, and they're both like looking at him, and then they're like talking amongst themselves, and then you hear him, and he's like, "I heard everything he said." Me and Alicia still quote that, like, "I heard everything he said." To this day, dude, it's so good. Team America World Police. That, dude. Matt Stone, Trey Parker. The level of...
It's funny.
If they tried to even, like, put anything like that out nowadays, they would be crucified. And it's not they would be burned at the stake.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's just the most absurd, push the envelope kind of comedy. It's the it's not animation. It's the dolls, dude. It's ridiculous.
Yes,
It's
it is.
absolutely ridiculous. But it's my kind of comedy, and I have to give it the honorable mention.
All right, I'm going to honorably mention a couple.
Go ahead.
Without a Paddle.
It's definitely not my favorite. It's good, but it's definitely not my... I'd like Seth Green, and I like Dax Shepard and Matthew Lillard.
So it's like this, the three guys get away to get back to their youth because they've been friends forever. They go camping and they get into trouble. It's not an original plot line, but the execution is pretty funny. I can't believe that this is an honorable mention, but Dodgeball.
It was a toss-up.
Dude, that's not a toss-up. That's not a toss-up at all.
It's a toss-up.
No, man. I see what you got on that list. They don't know yet, but I see it.
I will choke you if you have anything bad to say about that movie.
Which one? The second one or the third one?
Okay. That's none of them, so...
Oh, exactly. I agree with I agree with 1 and 4, but
okay. All right, we're good.
Dodgeball should be on that list because
It
if you
was.
can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
It was originally, but I think these other 4 kind of beat... I mean, Dodgeball is an absolute classic movie, and it's funny as all hell.
Girl Next Door.
Yup. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I like that dude as an actor. What's his name? Emilio something?
Emilio Estevez?
Is it Estevez? No, that's the guy from the Mighty
Esteban?
Ducks.
Yeah, that's Mighty Ducks. I don't know. I don't know any other Emilio.
I want to say his name's like Emilio or something.
Emilio.
Or maybe that's his last. I can't remember.
Emilio.
He was in Alpha Dog, too. He was also in Alpha Dog. And he was in Lone Survivor as well. He's a good actor.
My last honorable mention is Napoleon Dynamite, which really should also be on that list.
It doesn't really hold up too well. It really doesn't. Like, it has the nostalgia factor because when that movie came out, like, that was the movie to watch, and everybody was quoting it, but...
It's context.
If you go back to it, you're just kind of like, this is just kind of stupid.
All right, well, while you go through this list, I'm going to just interject quotes from Napoleon Dynamite.
Tina, you fat lord.
Dude, I was watching a reel of Between Two Ferns with Steve Carell.
That's a good,
and he's just like, do you ever, like swim out and people just think there's an island there? I'm not that fat, man.
The top 4, Anchorman.
Yes.
Definitely one of Will Ferrell's best. And it is, 60% of the time it works every time.
I see you're drinking 1%.
Milk was a bad choice. I like when he meets Veronica and don't act like you're not impressed. Oh my god, dude. That is an actual. I love when he's warming up at the news desk. He's just
Pedro offers you his protection. Dude, Will Ferrell killed it in that.
Yeah, Paul Rudd, and the other Steve Carell, and then the other guy that's always in like that kind of movie.
That guy.
That guy. Yeah, that's classic. We've got The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. I think this movie needs a little bit more recognition because it's in a like the concept of this movie is really insane. He basically can like revisit. He reads his journals. He journals like, you know, his day-to-day or his memories or whatever, and he can read the journal and go back to that moment, and he can alter it. So when he wakes up in the present, it altered the past, and now he's in a different present. And then he realizes that he needs to change the present again, and he goes back and tries to change it, but he's trying to, like, save everybody, and it ends up just damaging him in the long run.
That movie was too deep for me.
Dude, it's such... It will, like...
I can't see Ashton Kutcher in that light.
It will mess you up, like, just thinking about, you know, that concept and, like, what you would do in that scenario. But it's such a good, like, concept of just storyline and how they perceive it and how they, like, words. Stuff.
Vote for Pedro.
If you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. I think it's kind of underrated in like the, I don't even know what, like, thriller like sci-fi-ish.
And it's a thriller.
Then we've got White Chicks, the Wayans brothers again.
I never saw White Chicks.
Get out of here. Are you serious?
I never saw White Chicks.
What? You're lying to me.
I never saw White Chicks.
You've never seen White Chicks?
Well, nope. I mean, I have, but I haven't, like, watched it.
And just when I think that you couldn't disappoint me anymore, you go and tell me that you haven't seen White Chicks.
Oh, shit. Stay tuned. There's so much more that's going to piss you off.
Oh, my God, dude. Go watch this movie.
No.
It's the Wayans brothers. They're undercover cops, and they dress up like these two, like, rich white girls. And they have to, like, act like them and stuff like this. Dude, it is so ridiculous. And they have to befriend their friends. They look just ridiculous. And
why don't we just remake it?
Terry Crews hits on one of the Wayans brothers. And, like, he buys a date with her. He spends, like, $100,000 on this date with her. And he takes her out, or takes him out. And dude, it's like one of, like, there's memes about that scene where Terry Crews is singing Vanessa Carlton, where he does the dun 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 dun.
I'm about to tell you that that's very off key, but
I wasn't trying to be on key.
Dun 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 dun. That's off key too, but
dude, you need to watch that movie.
I'll watch
it. Is
it.
So the Wayans brothers. That's all that needs to be said.
I'll watch it.
It's fantastic.
Blah, blah, blah.
Jersey Girl, another Kevin Smith classic. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, and George Carlin.
Jersey Girl is solid.
Dude, this movie needs to be talked about more.
The
story of this.
Yeah, that I'm glad you clarified that.
Oh my God, it's heavy.
Yes.
Like, it gets me emotional. You know, busy city folk is what they would be. And Jennifer Lopez is Ben Affleck's wife in the movie and was probably his wife at the time. She dies during childbirth, and he's left to raise his daughter alone, and he struggles with that. His dad helps him he tries to give her this big city life that he thinks that she wants, but it's what he wants. And she, they become close, but then they start to, conflict as she gets older. And then he starts to realize, like, it doesn't matter where we are and what I'm doing as long as I'm doing it with you. Which, as a dad, pulls at the heartstrings. And the moment that really gets me is when he's talking to his daughter, and he's like, it's the moment that after he had his big screw up, he's trying to, basically like win her back, or, and he goes, "You're the only thing that I was ever good at." That will tug at the heartstrings so hard. Such a good movie. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Kevin Smith, again, strikes gold. So good. Out of the top 4, though.
Anchorman.
I gotta say Jersey Girl.
Jay-Z Gale.
I gotta say Jersey Girl.
Ah.
As a dad, that movie just holds more weight, and it's just one of those ones that,
Hey,
especially having a daughter.
LJ, go down to the pizzeria and grab us a pizza. Why don't you?
We already had pizza.
All right, well then get the fuck back in the dumpster.
2005.
Time to go for a ride.
The honorable mentions for 2005 are going to be Lords of Dogtown. That movie, it's about the the origin story of like the California skateboarding scene, and Stacy Peralta and all of those famous skateboarders back in the day, and how skateboarding basically became what it is today, figuratively speaking. It's a really good movie. That dude that played in Alpha Dogs and Lone Survivor and the Girl Next Door, he's in this movie. Really, really solid movie. If you're a skateboarding fan, watch it. It's a classic. I love this movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but if I see it like on a streaming service, I definitely am just clicking it to watch, because I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
I tried to do an Ollie last year.
That's a bad idea.
Oh, it was horrible.
That's a bad idea. The other honorable mention, The Ringer, with Johnny Knoxville. That one's... When the fuck did we get ice cream? I watched you. You took my CD and you scratched it. In broad daylight.
Wait, you have ice cream?
Dude. Johnny Knoxville plays a guy who tries to compete in the Special Olympics by pretending he's mentally, handicapped.
I know, it's why I hate this movie, but
It's a really funny movie.
it's funny. I just don't.
Johnny Knoxville.
It's a line for me.
That's where you draw the line.
There's
really?
there's a line for me, and that line is it. Thanks, Alicia.
Walk the Line is another honorable mention.
All right, so funny story time. So there was this girl in high school.
There was this girl.
Meant a lot to me. And for our first date, I'd asked her to the movies.
Did you see Walk the Line?
We didn't know what we were seeing until we got there, and I was looking at the list, and I'm like, why don't we go see Walk the Line? Not a clue. It was a Johnny Cash movie. Neither of us were country music people at the time. Really just like the worst possible movie, but I wound up taking that girl to prom.
Oh, that's cute.
I was with her for a while. on into college, and yeah, so she was basically my high school sweetheart, and it all started with Walk the Line. And she's very successful today. She's doing well for herself. She's married, has a couple kids.
Very nice. I love this movie.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix plays a very good Johnny Cash.
And Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon plays a pretty good June Carter.
Pretty
And
good. Yeah, it was pretty good. She wasn't that great. It was rough.
It was a good movie. But
It was a good movie, but
Joaquin Phoenix is just a hell of an actor.
Call her? Yes, absolutely. I'm sure her husband would be very happy about that. The weird part, Alicia, is I can still remember her number.
There's a movie that I just recently saw that I'm going to throw on the honorable mentions because it is a phenomenal movie called Two for the Money.
One for the show?
It's Al Pacino and Matthew McConaughey, very young Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is a high school sports high school football quarterback, I think. Gets injured, can't play anymore. He just studies the game and he works for this small little company making sports bets. So this guy calls him up and says, "Hey, I want you to work for me. I'll pay you this, a bunch of money. There's a flight in your drawer. Come work for me." And it's Al Pacino, and he flies out to work for him, and he makes predictions to try and get people to call in and bet on games and stuff like that. And he hits he just knows what to call, and he knows everything. He's like a golden pony, and he can't do any wrong. So he starts, changing his persona to be like TV ready, and like they make him, live this luxury lifestyle. He starts dressing in suits and driving like a Mercedes, and he's like a cocky dude and this and that, and it starts to take over his life basically, and he gets too cocky, and Al Pacino has a very big gambling problem, and they end up like having a fallout, and Matthew McConaughey catches Al Pacino in the lie, and Al Pacino has like this heart condition during the movie, and at the end, Matthew McConaughey is now like a humble guy, back to his roots sort of guy. Really, really good movie. I didn't know it existed until one of the guys brought up a garbage bag full of movies to the cabin, and they just threw it in, and I was glued to it. It was such a good movie.
Shocker that Al Pacino portrays somebody who had a problem with addiction. Real surprising there.
It's a really, really good movie. And another honorable mention I think I'm going to throw in here is Constantine.
Oh, so good.
That's a really good movie. Again, Keanu Reeves.
Before we move on from Al Pacino, though, say hello to my little friend.
He said that he would love to revisit the character in Constantine. I think John Constantine, is that the guy's name?
Yeah, I would really love it if Keanu would just revisit the chair by his pool.
Man, a lot of hate here. And I got to give another honorable mention to The Devil's Rejects, because that's a really good Rob Zombie movie. And
One for the money,
and
two
Sherry
for the
Moon
show,
Zombie.
3 to get ready, and 4 to go.
Okay, on to the top 4 here for 2005. We've got Waiting. Do you remember when this movie came out?
Damn.
Dude, when this movie came out, dude, it was all about just doing what they do in this movie to your friends.
Bro. What they did to that burger.
Yeah. Dane Cook is in this movie. I always forget.
Dane Cook is in it. What's his name is in it?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds. Like,
Justin Long's in it too. Wait. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin Long's in it. Dude, This movie is. Did you notice that I did what to your pizza? What they did to that burger?
You lied to me.
Dude,
You lied to me.
that. I mean, this is the character that doesn't talk until the very end of the movie. He keeps getting interrupted. Till the very end, he finally like goes off. Oh, Andy Milonakis is in this movie too.
Yes.
He's like one of the dishwashers. Dude, that man, I haven't watched that movie in a hot minute. I think I'm due to watch that. One of my favorite movies, Wedding Crashers. Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson.
Dude, that one, yes.
That's a really solid movie. The what's her name? The redhead that Vince Vaughn ends up with, who's just batshit crazy. when she has him in the bathroom and she's like cleaning his wound on his knee from when they were playing football, and he like says something that she doesn't like, and she just dumps all like the rubbing alcohol on it, and it's like stinging his knee, and then she gets on top of him and starts whipping her hair into his face. And I love when they're playing football, and he tackles. He's like, "Yeah, crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does."
It's true, though.
I love when Vince Vaughn is the quarterback, and he's like, "Red 7, red 7, red 7." He's like, "I don't know what that means." He's like, "Just get on the other side."
Omaha!
Dude, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, like their chemistry in that movie is, I gotta think that they were like some scenes they were just firing off like just off the cuff.
A lot of them they do, like these
Dude.
comedies and stuff. I mean, like,
The stuff that they were saying to each other.
well, like Parks and Rec, that one scene where they're talking about comebacks.
Oh my,
He just drops that bomb,
I love that.
and everyone's
show.
like, "No!"
Dude. Yeah, dude. Like, this is just... Vince Vaughn, the character that he plays in this movie, and the character that dude, it's just such a... It's so good.
And you turned him down in Dodgeball.
Yeah, it's not as good as Wedding Crashers. Wedding Crashers is miles ahead of Dodgeball. I stand by it.
I'm done.
We've got The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's a classic. No.
Right in the face.
Yeah, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That is Steve Carell. That was a absolute banger.
You
Seth Rogen.
freaking shithead.
Ow.
Dude, 40-Year-Old Virgin was hilarious, but I'm really worried.
Why?
Because in 5 years, people might think that's my, like, biography. It's like the docuseries, a documentary on me.
Dude.
They're not wrong.
I love the scene where he goes in to talk to what's her face, and he's just asking her he's just answering with questions. I don't know. Do you like to do it?
It's so good.
And when I think he's drunk, and he's got the camera, and he's like going down his pants. Is that him, or is that
That's the other guy, I
that's
think.
the other guy? When he gets the wax strips pulled off, Kelly Clarkson. That was That was like a thing that everybody yelled out in school. And then we've got Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. I love this movie. The end of it is one of the best moments in all of Star Wars. It's hits you home, dude. It's chef's kiss when Obi-Wan got the high ground and sliced old Anakin's legs off, and Anakin was still just filled with rage, and Obi-Wan was truly troubled.
You realize
that
you
he
just
had-
ruined that movie for everybody that didn't see it, right?
If you haven't seen it, then you've got an issue.
Dude, like,
But, dude,
I hate you!
when he says, like, you were the chosen one, you were supposed to do, like, oh god, why can I
You were
not?
supposed to bring light to the Force, not destroy it.
Yes.
Get your shit together. Come on, you're supposed to like Star Wars. I grew
Look
up
at
with
all the actors' names that I couldn't think of.
I grew up with all the damn toys, okay? I'm trying to like minimize that shit, not flaunt it.
It set up that whole relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin perfectly, and when they made the Obi-Wan show, it just made that scene just all the more powerful, because basically they have to do it all over again because Obi-Wan is still haunted by, the fact that he had to kill his brother.
He didn't kill him though.
Well, he had to, but what he assumed, he killed him.
No, Obi-Wan was a dumb son of a bitch because he didn't finish the job.
Because
He just created literally the worst Force to ever hit the galaxy.
which when dude, in the show, when he finds out that Anakin's still alive, and he's just like, the feeling of dread that falls over him is like, wait, what?
Well, and it's kind of like, how did you not know that already? I thought you were in tune with the Force, asshole.
Well,
Like, you can sense that.
Anakin was so strong with the Force that he could have basically, like, did what Luke did and shut himself off from it. Or hid himself, basically. Because that's what Luke did in, what is it? The Last Jedi.
No, he did it first in The Force Awakens.
Was that in The Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens was...
The Force
the whole
Awakens-
premise of The Force Awakens was looking for Luke.
I know that.
The
but
Last
I
Jedi
wasn't-
was like, oh shit, we found you. And he's like, fuck.
The Force Awakens was the one that I've watched the least out of the newer trilogy. I watched The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker the most out of the...
The Force Awakens was just a regurgitation of the original trilogy all in one movie. So
The Force Awakens, it was decent, but it didn't capture me like The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. But I think that's due to all of the like callbacks and references in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Because The Last Jedi, I legitimately get teary-eyed when Luke hands Leia the dice that's in the Falcon, and he kisses her on the forehead. Dude.
Okay, so that's the second time he kissed his sister, but
Because
maybe more than the second.
It
But
was basically like everybody got to have like their like send off to Carrie Fisher without it, like within the storyline of the movies.
all right, if we're talking about this, I'm just putting this out there. The whole bridge of the ship blows apart, and Carrie Fisher or Princess Leia is, just sent out into space, and magically somehow through the Force manages to coast her way back in.
She was a Jedi.
Out of a fucking vacuum.
She was a Jedi.
A Jedi doesn't make you freaking invincible.
She used the Force
to float back in. And how did she breathe, LJ?
Because she's Carrie Fisher.
Well, she ain't
She's
breathing.
Princess Leia.
She ain't breathing now.
Hey now. Watch your
Like
tone.
seriously, don't like.
You watch your tone. Don't speak about our princess that way.
Dude,
Hey,
That was
That-
the worst moment in the whole, all 9 of them. That
I'm
was
not saying the movies are perfect, but I'm saying that I loved them, and everybody else that
I
says
love them too.
otherwise,
I love them
suck
too.
it.
I just, come on, guys.
I'm
Let's
just-
not get
Hey.
that far-fetched.
Just enjoy it.
Like, there are people out here trying to really build lightsabers.
Just enjoy it.
I can't enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
I'll enjoy the next 3 on
The
Rey.
new show comes out soon. Actually, I think it might be out. The Acolyte.
I'm excited for the movie on Rey.
But are they actually making that?
Yeah, they.
See, here's the
Daisy
thing.
Ridley already signed
Here's
up.
What I hated about Rise of Skywalker is when she goes, like at the end, when she goes to Tatooine, and she has Luke and Leia's lightsabers, and she's putting them into the sand, and some like the people say like, who are you? And she's like, Rey Skywalker, and I'm like, come on, boo!
No, dude, that was iconic. Why would she own?
No.
Why would she own the Palpatine family name?
She doesn't have to.
So what's she
don't
gonna do?
say-
Make it up?
Don't say a Skywalker.
Rey Kenobi?
No, definitely not that. Just
Rey Yoda?
don't even give yourself a last name. Just say Rey.
The whole premise was that Luke was like her adopted father.
I understand. I understand the concept of, Leia and Luke basically like making her who she is and letting her discover who she's going to become and resist becoming part of the Sith and resisting her Palpatine, roots. But don't become a Skywalker.
Look, from the moment of the kiss with Luke and Leia, we knew that they had to have a daughter. And this is the only way you could do that without violating some laws and shit.
Surprise! Star Wars is actually just a big incest movie.
He kissed his sister.
They didn't know. And then she fell in love with Han, and they got this beautiful love story out of it.
And created the worst enemy that I would like.
I mean, I liked Kylo Ren.
It-
The thing that I liked about his character is how he became, he became a Sith, but he had that light in him that never faded away. So as soon as like something came to him and like kind of brought it to the surface, he started to have that internal struggle between light and dark. And he was just always conflicted until finally he started to like lean more towards doing the right thing, the Jedi thing, so to speak. And they killed Snoke and stuff like that. Like he righted his wrongs, and then he helped Rey at the end with Palpatine, which was sick, dude. When she hides the lightsaber behind her and transfers it to him, or is it he transfers it to her? One of the two. Oh no, it's when he's coming to her, she transfers it to him so he can fight whatever, and then he shows up and helps, and then he dies in the process. But dude, what a scene that was!
So
Anyway, before we get too far into Star Wars stuff, because I could talk about that all day,
I'm
what are you picking out of the top 4?
well, before I get there, I'm really realizing that the whole Skywalker saga is literally a big soap opera, and I'm kind of utterly disappointed by that. But,
I mean, that's basically what people call Star Wars, is a space opera.
well, yeah, it's a space opera, but like
It's so good. It's so good.
it's like the nerds version of Days of Our Lives at this point. Like, really, I mean, everybody's related somehow. Your friends somehow. He winds up with her. They have kids. He has kids. Your kid does this to his son, and by the time you're at the 9th movie, 21 hours in,
Oh my god.
everybody's fucking dead. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, I love it. I love Star Wars, but
That was
I think
so good.
that's like I had a moment there. Wedding Crashers is my choice. It is my selection. Daisy Ridley, if you're out there, dinner.
I think I'm gonna have to choose Revenge of the Sith. Just because that ending scene just.
There's a parody of that.
I think I've seen it.
It's called Revenge of the Shit.
I think I've probably seen it. Dude, do you remember going into Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever rental store that you had, and they had the, like, it was the adults.
Is there a herd of elephants upstairs?
I don't know.
Bum,
I got
ba-dum,
concerned.
ba-dum, ba-dum.
The, like, adult section, they had, like, the spoofs. It was, like, Lord of the G-Strings and, like, just, like, the most absurd titles of, like, play off of movies. And it's, like, I've never seen a single one of those, but I guarantee it is pure
Sure.
comedy gold.
Sure. Yeah, so that was actually a Zack and Miri Make a Porno play, because their idea was to do 3 movies, and they wound up doing 1, and it was all based off of Star Wars. And everybody had, like, Star Wars costumes, and the big black guy was like...
What Alicia says, I get it honest, because my mom used to watch soap operas.
But yeah, the guy literally was like, and what we can do with it is we can go Revenge of the Shit. The all anal final chapter.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
And it's like, bro, no! And then he winds up, like, getting his settlement, and they finish the movie, and...
All
Oh,
right.
God.
We have...
That scene!
We have
You don't remember that scene?
yeah,
You remember
where he's
that
like,
scene?
she frosted me like a cake. Yeah. We have 3 people that are in here right now. Roll call. Shout out in the chat. Say hi. Say hi to us. Ask us a question. Say something that's on your mind. Do something. Come
Do
on.
it.
Roll call. Get active. Let's go. Let's go.
It would be cool to know who's in here.
Yeah, who's
I
in
mean, your
here?
wife's in here.
I
but-
know that. Who's all in here?
Yeah, clearly. I
Chat
mean,
it up.
Jesus, look
Say
at that.
hi. Chat it up. See who's in here. Ask me a question. Ask Andy a question. Something.
They're probably going to tell me to shut up.
I hope so.
Ain't nobody going to send shit. Watch. It's just going to go to 0 real quick, and we're going to be like, oh, that's that.
Oh no, they've seen us. Scatter.
Tango, we've been detected.
Abort. Abort.
Oh, it's Christy. Christy, I think it is.
Christy Von Droof.
I couldn't remember if it was Christy or Christy. What's up? Thank you for watching. I will respond to you as soon as I get the hell off this camera.
So we've got Christy, we've got my wife, and who's behind door number 3? They probably won't respond.
I got a text from my dad. I didn't answer him. $5 says that he got on here. That son of a bitch didn't answer me. Fucking.
Just a small topic to close out here. Do you think that companies are capitalizing on nostalgia too much?
Dude, companies are capitalizing on whatever the hell they can grab onto. So yes, absolutely.
So when it comes to like
number 3 left.
what made me think of this this little like short topic is the recent drop of the Legend of Zelda Deku Tree Lego set. So it's sick. It's so sick. And it's stupid expensive for what it is.
Is it by Lego?
Yes.
Of course it is.
So it's a official Lego set, and it's just the Deku Tree. It doesn't look. It's not that big, and they want $300.
How many pieces is it?
It's not
See,
that
that's
much.
if you don't know how many pieces it is, you aren't a true Lego
I
entrepreneur.
watched people talk
Do you love
about it.
Legos?
I do, but I stay.
Well, then you should know how many pieces it is, bitch.
I stay away from.
Well, and I don't spend hundreds of dollars on Legos either.
It is.
But I'll say this much:
Oh my!
when it comes to building toys, Lego has their shit on lock. Like, that is their products. You don't ever find one that's missing a piece. You don't ever find one that doesn't go together
It's a
right.
2,500 piece set.
That's huge.
It's-
That's
it-
enormous.
But here's the thing: there's been other sets that are like triple the size of that are like half the price.
No way.
100%.
There's no way. Maybe not from Lego.
Yes, from Lego.
No way.
100%.
Nope. I don't believe it. You got to find it.
I'm not doing the research now.
Well, fine, don't. But
but
like, so that's the thing, like, right? Like, if you look in context, Lego bases their prices off of the size of the set, not the physical size. Like,
no,
it can be
I
super
think
tiny.
What Lego does is they base their price based off the subject matter of the set.
Like, but also think of what Lego has to pay off of what they're making to
Dude,
Nintendo.
They have a R2D2 that's definitely bigger than that. That's $200 to $250, I think.
I know what R2D2 you're talking about, and I don't think it's actually bigger.
Dude, there's no reason that has to be $300. No reason whatsoever.
Other than, do you realize how much engineering actually goes into those things? Like,
It
you're
doesn't.
literally taking predefined blocks to build out that model, and then you have to build the instruction booklet in a way that a child can, or whatever age range, can build it.
It shouldn't cost $300.
Lego R2D2 is $240 brand new from Amazon. It has 2,300 pieces.
So it's 200 pieces less.
200 pieces less and $60 less.
Yeah. Again, why are you going to charge $300? And it doesn't look like a complex thing to put together. And you get the, Ocarina of Time link, which, like, if it was
okay,
not,
the minifigure alone is crazy.
if it was not $300, I would snap by that thing. When I saw it, I was like, I am 100% buying this, no question. And then I saw the price, and I'm like, I am not. Yeah, I know that. Like, yes, I know. But
Dude,
that wasn't the price on release. That's the aftermarket price. There's a set that I think is from Lego Star Wars. It's like all but pushing $10,000, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's the new inbox Imperial Destroyer. So that's just it. Like, Lego, one, you've got a lot of effort going into that. So, and to be honest with you, human resources are probably the most expensive resource out there. No lie. Like, per capita, I could see that being the case, especially for somebody that's like an engineer. And, in the context of Legos, maybe you don't need an engineering degree to do it, but that's a special person. Like, you can't just pull somebody off the street and say, build this out of Legos and get that level of detail and all that stuff to it. So
Yeah.
by the time you extend out all of that effort over what they have to get paid and the benefits that they get from being a Lego employee and things like that, I think there's a lot of investment there. I think Nintendo's taking a good bit of that.
I think that set, if marked at $200, it's a much less salty price point.
I agree. But are people paying the $300?
Dude, if you need to know one thing about this stupid world that we live in, it is the reason that these things can get away with charging such a crazy premium is because there are whales that just buy it. And there's people that are just going to wait for it to drop, scoop up 1,700 boxes of them, and just start fire selling them on eBay for double, triple the price.
The other thing you have to keep in context is, let's say you're buying that set from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one, I doubt Walmart's stocking that.
Probably.
Because it seems like a niche to a degree.
I feel like I haven't been in a Walmart in a long
Walmart's
time.
doing the Mario collection. I don't know if they're going to do the Zelda stuff.
Actually, I guess I was in a Walmart not too long ago because I bought the games when that was like a huge thing going on.
Right.
Which I wonder how that's going. I gotta check in on that.
But in the context of that, Walmart's markup on toys is usually between 60 and 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that Walmart is paying Lego, we'll say it's 100% markup. Lego is getting $150 for that set. So then Lego has to pay for all the R&D, all the production, all that stuff, the licensing out of that $150. By the time that's all said and done, what is Lego's margin? So I think part of it's the retailer. And the biggest piece, like you said, is that people are buying them. If people weren't buying them, the price would come down.
Yeah.
That's just simple economics.
Yeah.
You're going to make more money selling 1,000 units at $250 than you will selling 10 units at $300.
I just think like these companies, and whether it's Lego or whether it's somebody else, when they release a partnership with whoever and they put out whatever and it's 2x what their original product usually cost, it's like,
well, and that's why it's
yikes.
bullshit, because you have these partnerships, and to me, I see partnership on a product and I think, great. Now I have to line the pockets of two companies with one purchase instead of one. And it's really greed driven in a lot of cases. Like look at Starbucks.
I see your belly.
My belly. Oh, my belly's sticking out. I wouldn't even pay attention. My fat ass.
Everybody got that one's free.
The next one's $5 per
square inch
to Venmo.
All right.
I take Cash App too. And PayPal.
Dude, PayPal is the only one that I trust.
I trust them all.
I don't trust any of them.
Transfers money, whatever. Money's fake. Money is a figment of your imagination. It's a number on a screen and on a piece of paper.
Pretty much.
But yeah, like Starbucks literally, based on their profits last year, I think it could afford to give every employee they have a $10 raise and still make like $8 billion.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started.
So,
on like massive, huge companies, and CEOs, and
well, that's just it. Margins right now are disgusting. It's all piggybacked off of the COVID situation, where, granted, right after COVID, did prices have to go up because they were struggling because they couldn't do anything for practically a whole year? Sure, but it's this perpetual thing where we can be, as consumers, convinced that, oh yeah, this is inflation, and to a degree some of it's inflation, absolutely. Mm-hmm. To the other degree, it's simply the company saying, well, here's an opportunity to increase our price margin while we can, in preparation for whatever's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right.
No, I don't. I just think that you're hitting a market with whatever product that you're putting out that is hitting my nostalgia, or the people that are in my age group, their nostalgia too. Don't make us have to don't make our wallets cry. Like, you can make them sob a small, shed a tear or two. I can live with that. But when you're coming out the gate with this massive premium, and I'm just like, dude.
So there's something to be said for still doing honorable business.
Yeah.
People recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
In today's world, they seem to care about it significantly less than they used to. But let's take it back to a foundation. Gas. Right now, the average gas price in America is $4 a gallon.
So insane.
It's never going down.
No.
And it's simply because regardless of whether they start drilling here, whether they don't, whether we import from OPEC, whether we, get our gas from Texas and Alaska, whoever is selling it knows we will pay that.
Yeah.
They know that we need it, that we're dependent on it, and that we're not going to do a damn thing about it. Maybe they, you get somebody who has some honor that's like, oh, well, let's sell it for less than this, and we go down to like $3.50 a gallon average.
Yeah.
But it's never going back under $2 or $3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling that now. So
do you we'll close out on this with honorable business and people that are just willing to work with people. Is I don't want to put the stores on blast, so I will say store number 1. That is a store that is close to me. When I went down to them before and I saw a game that was very overpriced that I wanted to buy, I said, hey, the market price is here. I'd be willing to pay this for this game. Not an unreasonable offer for them. I know that they have a little bit of a markup because they have things to pay for. They have employees to pay for, etc. I understand that. This game was marked up $40 more than it's worth, which is just insane. I said that I'd be willing to pay this. It was a pretty clean copy. I wanted it. And they came back and they were like, we can go here. And it was $10 off what they had. And I was like, that's still just way too much. I said, I could just go somewhere else, or I could go on the internet and buy it. I don't like being that guy where I'm like, well, I can just go to eBay or whatever.
So was it a used game?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that can be a couple situations from my perspective. One, either the buy-in was a bad deal and somebody screwed up on it. Mm-hmm. They have too much in that game and they don't have that much room on it. Or two, I think is the point that you're about to hit. They didn't care.
They didn't care because they knew that somebody was going to walk into that store and pick it up regardless.
Well, and here's the thing with that. Regardless of whether it was a bad deal on their end, where, say a new employee didn't realize what they were doing, they graded it wrong, they, identified it wrong, whatever the case was that they spent too much on it, the right thing to do is not to pass that mistake on to the consumer to absorb.
It puts a bad taste in my mouth as a customer of wow, you're marking this game up X amount and you're not willing to work with me here. So then instead, I went to one of my favorite stores. I will shout them out. Game Traders Club in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Went there and I bought 3 games. The total came out to X amount of dollars.
$500-600.
Definitely not that much. I think it was
for the games you're
it
buying?
was sitting around $200.
Damn, boy. You got $200 to spend on games.
So, I looked at what they had marked and I adjusted accordingly of what I would have liked to pay for them. Reasonably from a store. I said, I forget what I calculated to be. I think I shot at him. I think I said 150 because one of the games was a little rougher, but it was a game that I really wanted. One of them was mint. That Zelda 2 was really minty. I knew I was going to pay up for that one. And I don't remember the third game, but it was kind of right around it. So
Do I get to wager a guess?
I did the math.
Do I get to wager a guess?
Go ahead.
I'll bet he said I'll meet you in the middle.
No.
Oh.
He said he said 160 and I'm in.
Damn, he went less than the middle. Good man.
Yeah. The difference between those two stores, one may look a little nicer and be a little more presentable. The other store cares about the customer and cares about them coming back repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Building relationships, because when you build relationships, people will ask for specific items. When these specific items come in, hey, I got a guy that I know I can sell this to, or I'm going to buy this a little bit higher than I normally would because I know it's going to sell like that. The stuff that they get in up at Game Traders Club is nutty. For the kind of store that they are, where they're located, and just the people that I know that work there, like, the stuff that comes in is wild, dude. Wild. For a game store like around here, it's wild, the stuff that they get. And they continue to get it. Like, they get some really, really, really rare stuff. And it's, like, completely out of left field. So, it just really shows that if you care about your customer and you're willing to even willing to throw them a bone every now and then, even if that's a little lower than I would normally go, but dude, I've seen you in here multiple times. I'll do 150 for you, or whatever the deal. Especially when you buy multiple items and you're willing to work like a bundle deal, that's even better.
Well, and I mean, it permeates multiple different industries.
Yeah.
Like, this is a problem everywhere. I had to seek out a service recently, and I looked at 2 different service providers, and one was literally double the other.
Yeah.
And I pointed out to them...
This is what we talked about earlier?
Yep. Okay. And I pointed out to them, I was like, hey, you are literally charging double than some of your competitors in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've basically priced yourself out of contention, at least for us. And she was just like, yep, you're correct. That's what we charge. Thanks for reaching out. And in the context of what this was about, to me, that was like
it's insane.
Are you really handling it that way?
It's insane.
Yeah,
especially
it's
with that kind of service. Like, come on.
Yeah. And it's simply because it's the only one down there.
Did you end up going with the...
Yeah, well, I'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
But I just wanted to point out that, like, that's a case, a perfect use case analysis of how it permeates multiple industries.
It's a matter of, like, hey, I can get this for this price here right now. Will you meet me around that number? Because you are definitely far off from that number. And they're just like, no, buy it or get out. And you're just like, all right. And then you just walk right down the street to their competitor and be like, hey, do you have a copy of this? And they're like, yeah, it's $50. And you're like, sweet. That's right around what it's worth. That's what I'm willing to pay. Boom. If they said it was $60, I had 50, they're at 60, I'll pay $10 more. What's $10? If it's a clean copy, sure. I get to have it in my
coming
hands
out again.
now.
The
Sure.
damn shirt too big, too small, too big, too small.
That'll be $5. I guess that pretty much sums up
The whole viewer that we have.
what
Whoever you are, Venmo.
that sums up the topics that I wanted to talk about today. There's some that I do want to talk, but I want to be a little more prepared for those. So
Battle?
we'll leave those on for next week.
Mario Kart Battle.
Thank you for everybody who joined.
Yeah.
Who is here now and who was here maybe earlier on. I have to go take care of my neighbor's house.
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
You know the one.
Where's he?
He's at the beach.
What the?
I got to go collect eggs from chickens.
When do they get back?
Saturday.
Friday night. let's bring all the chickens over here.
That would be hilarious, but no. We're gonna schedule a time to actually go shoot the video then for the game collection. So,
Okay.
say the thing, Andy.
We're Dad's game room.
Bye bye.